Well, hello guys. It is Shane here, and I'm here with another vinyl update. I am crazy about music. I'm gonna try to slow it down after this. Let me know what you guys think of these pops. If you've ever had one or what they taste like or whatever, because I'm gonna have one right now. I'm gonna tell you it is weird tasting. This is strawberry lemon. So weird tasting. It's my official thing. So let's get into it. Lots to show you. A few DVDs, music DVDs. I'm gonna start you out with. Um, Emerson, Lake and Palmer here from the beginning. This has a bunch of different live tracks on it. A few videos from the Nice, or one video from the Nice, Crazy World of Arthur Brown and King Crimson. Live at California Jam is on here. I think there's an interview. There's an with John Moog on here, I believe. There's a lot of stuff on here. This one was $5. He had these are from Jerked Off Records. Everything I show you, in Bradenton, Florida. He had like a lot of these music DVDs, and I might pick up more as I go along. But yeah, I'm not the world's biggest Emerson, Lake and Palmer fan, but I picked it up. And Peter Gabriel, and this is Play the Videos. All the greatest video hits of Peter Gabriel, including Sledgehammer, which is awesome. Is Shock the Monkey on here? Big Time. Yeah, kind of a nice packet. This Play the Videos. See if it's got anything interesting in here. Let's see some photos. Hi there. Big Time. Hi there. Steam, that song Steam, the great song Digging Up the Dirt, is on here. Lots of cool songs. Bico, which I didn't know there was even a video to it, but yeah. Peter Gabriel plays the videos. Greatest hits. This one was a little bit of a reach for $5, but I got it anyways. I used to be a sucker for music DVDs. I used to collect these things like they were candy, But yeah, so Peter Gabriel's Play the Videos. Okay, cassettes, not a ton of them. I have a lot more I could show, but I'm not going to show those. I really want to get into showing the albums tonight for a change. That would be really fucking crispy if I could do that. But 5 of them, and yeah, let's see. Yeah, the first 3 were $3 a piece. One was $5, and the other one was $10. Verge Overkill, Exit the Dragon, follow-up album to The Great Saturation. That sort of 70s excess, and I think even a little bit more experimental on Saturation. This album has kind of a more mainstream or midstream sort of rock approach to it, and a little darker maybe even. The great song on here, Jaywalkin', was the big single on here. Honesty Files is great. The Mistake, This Is No Place. There's some good tracks on here. It's got the great song on here, Take a Walk, which was on the No Alternative soundtrack. There it is on Geffen. The boys are on Geffen. So yeah, I like this record by Verge Overkill. It's definitely worth checking out. I don't need to spend a lot of time. Last video, the pickups video I showed you, there were some Verge Overkill in that. XTC, Rag and Bone Buffet, Rare Cuts and Leftovers. A bunch of unreleased and previously unrecorded or unreleased material that the band had made through the years. And if you know XTC, they recorded a lot of shit. They were kind of known for that. So these are studio leftovers of sorts. There's a few songs on here I like. I'm not the world's biggest XTC fan, but I do like a few songs on here. Too Many Cooks in the Kitchen is a lot of fun. Where's that song at? Oh, the world is full of angry young men. Thanks for Christmas, which is really funky and fun, you know. So, yeah, like I said, I'm not the world's biggest fan of XTC, but I do respect the band and I do like them. And if I can get their stuff for $3, especially on cassette, because cassette prices are going up. Infinity Within Delight. You know, cassette prices are going up, but this is a fucking $3 to get. And I wasn't gonna get it. I was like, yes, I am. Love this band. This is their second album, follow up from World Click. Dance music from the early 90s. They try to get a little serious on this, little like social theme wise. They're actually talking about, you know, social themes in this, like, and being kind to people and all that, and it's even more like society, you know, which is nowadays, you know, it's kind of almost like the word kindness almost has cult connotations to it, you know, especially the, you know, the weird fucking Hollywood bullshit out there. I'm not gonna get too political though, but yeah, this is 1992. Like I said, this was the follow-up. There's a few good tracks on here. I'm trying to remember the songs on here. IFO, identified flying object is ridiculous, run away. Like I said, this is cool. Like it's a mature record. Hold on. It's supposed to be kind of a mature record by them, which makes it kind of almost funny to think about them trying to be mature and but it's fun. I like it. Delight. Gillian Welch with Revival. This, I want to say, is her first album, and this is produced by T-Bone Burnett. And there is something very cool about Gillian Welch, going back to the 90s, a very Puritan sort of country style. Somebody who was interested in Appalachia, old Carter family, kind of cultivating that old Carter family sound, and like traditional country into bluegrass, and this is exceptional. I paid $5 for that, which I think is a little too much. I'm already getting tired of buying cassettes because they're fucking getting to be too much money. Yes, I think $5 is a lot for a cassette. Yes, I do. I mean, wouldn't, you know, but, you know, what am I going to do? Yeah, the first two songs on here are fantastic. Orphan Girl and Annabelle. They're both exceptional songs on here. And I haven't really listened to the whole rest of the album. The song Barroom Girls on here is kind of twangy. But yeah, if you like old school country and old school, like, sort of, like I said, traditional country, you cannot go wrong with this. She's got a great voice to apply for this style of music too. I've never really listened to any of her shit, Gillian Welch, but I gotta tell you, I'm impressed with this. Very impressed. I'm not like this kind of stuff. It doesn't like I don't. First of all, I don't see it a lot. I don't listen to it a lot. But when I do, and it hits me right, this is exceptional. So Gillian Welch, Revival. I believe it's her first album. And last but not least, it is May the 4th. This is a beat tape of all Star Wars. So this is music from the Star Wars movies, including the Emperor March and all that, set to hip-hop beats, you know, and it's great. Because most of it is really like the, yeah, let me see if I can, most of it's like movie music. Like I said, if it's just set to a beat, so fucking what? You know, this one was a little pricey. It was $10, but I got a lot of the stuff I'm going to show you today. I got in trade, so I didn't spend as much as it looks like I spent based on the volume of stuff I got. So that is it for the cassettes. Let's move on. I want to keep going here because I feel like we're moving in a good clip. Few CDs here. Ryan Adams, Heartbreaker. I say this is the debut album by Ryan Adams. Did I say Brian Adams? Ryan Adams. I need somebody. Oh wait, that's Brian Adams. I was thinking of him, who I like too, but this is Ryan Adams, who was in Whiskey Town, and I showed a Whiskey Town CD last time I did a video, so I guess I was a little bit of on a Ryan Adams Whiskey Town kick to get this, his first album, which I had. He is no stranger to trouble, and he's no stranger to sort of controversy because he's, I guess, and I don't know him personally, but based on what I heard, could be difficult to deal with in some ways. But this album is exceptional. I believe this is an album that Elton John got behind and sort of was promoting in a way, but it's on the Bloodshot label, meaning that Elton John was a huge fan of this album. It's got maybe like the song that he's kind of known for, "Oh My Sweet Carolina," which is gorgeous. My Winding Wheel is great. Still a little bit of some Graham Parsons here and there, but there's elements even of this, kind of almost like Bob Dylan in some songs, like "To Be Young is to be sad, is to be high." That sounds like a Bob Dylan song. So he's kind of stretching out a little bit. I wouldn't say maturing, but I don't know, maybe maturing a little bit. I don't know. But it's good country rock music. Country, indie rock, country rock, whatever you want to call it. It's good stuff. So Ryan Adams, Heartbreaker. He was in a hardcore band before he started Whiskey Town, which always kind of surprised me. But I've seen interviews with him where he's talked about like Black Flag and stuff, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm on the right track here. Carla Bley, Social Studies. Kind of one of Carla Bley's best known albums, like best reviewed albums off of the, it's just off a Watt label. But she was on ECM. I think this is ECM. Watt is a subsidiary. 1981 release from Carla. If you're familiar with her, she's a pianist who happens to do all kinds of styles of jazz, adding elements in this of tango with the song Reactionary Tango, to world music with Ukiv Kisasang or something like that. I can't even say that. Let's see it. Utvik King Sang. Yes. And the last song on here is great. Walking Battery Woman is great, which is kind of more like my speed of what I like with her is when she goes sort of, sorry, I'm just so uncomfortable today. But I kind of my speed with Battery Woman, or Walking Battery Woman, because that's kind of more like avant-garde. That's the kind of stuff I like more. And that's kind of what she started out as an artist, as is kind of more avant-garde, and then went into, like, I guess maybe straight midline jazz to soft jazz to sort of world jazz music. She's been kind of all over the place, but she's definitely been a consistent artist for a long time. And she's got a great band with her. Usually I think Steve Swallows is in this band, yeah, on bass. Tony DeGrady is on tenor sax, I think, and Michael Matlier is on trumpet. I think those guys are like mainstays in her group. She's fantastic. I've been a fan of Carla Bley for quite a while, and that's Bley, Bley, Carla Bley, in case you want to know how to spell that. Or you can see this side of there too. Yeah, unfortunately she passed away a few years ago. I don't know how long it's been now, but it's been a little while anyways. And it's, she's quite talented. As a piano artist, she kind of, one thing I like about Carla Bley is she kind of does not let her instrument be the voice of it. She lets all of it be the voice of it. And it's like she isn't worried about being like the piano is at the front of the music. She just wants it to complement. She's looking at the piece as ensemble, even though she's on the label. It's not Carla Bley Quartet, it's just Carla Bley. So it's kind of cool that she's selfless like that. So, Social Studies, yes, great record by Carla Bley. I've been listening to her for probably the last 3 or 4 years now, and maybe a little bit longer, and I've never been disappointed in a record by her ever. Um, Psychotica, let's go 90s. I got some 90s alternative here. These guys are kind of fun. They're kind of, this is their debut record. This, I want to say came out in 95 maybe. Kind of in the same vein as like a Marilyn Manson maybe, or a Rob Zombie, in that sort of gothic, sort of alternative rock kind of vein, I guess. The songs on here are really good. Like Starfucker Love is a good song on here. Little Prince is good. Freedom of Choice. There's some really good songs. Ice Planet Hell. This has got kind of 90s kind of thing that's got that typical 90s sound. I was gonna say like maybe a little bit of Cold Chamber too. I like those guys from back then. Anybody that had mascara and leather, and I'm shooting a video.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Can I open the door real quick?
Yes.
I just want you to know that a book came in for you.
All right. Thanks.
All
Thank you. A book came in for me, so. Yes. So sorry, you guys were interrupted, but it happens. I live in an apartment with 2 other people, so I'm gonna get interrupted. I can't help it. I try to shoot these videos like more like early in the afternoon where like no one's around, but sometimes I have to shoot it when I can shoot it. So anyway, Psychotica 90s alternative. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. A Thousand Mona Lisas. This is cool too. New Disease. This is fucking cheesy. Produced by Giza X, and I think Giza X was in Black Flag, and I want to say I think Dead Kennedys too. Actually producing kind of what I think is, it's punk, but it's got kind of an alternative sound to it, like a 90s alternative, dare I say grunge punk, if there's a such thing. A little bit of like, kind of maybe like, I was thinking like Seaweed, but I don't think this is as good as Seaweed. But pretty good though, from what there are a ton of bands like this. A lot of these are like dime a dozen bands in the 90s that were kind of alternative, whatever you want to call them. They have a very clean sound to them. The songs are pretty short and tight arrangements. It's pretty good. I'd have to listen to this more, but I can't say I was blown away by it. But I can't say I hated it either. It just sort of was like, yeah. So, Thousand Mona Lisas. I can't believe I was interrupted while I was shooting a video, but it's happened if you watch my videos, and I apologize. It just happens. Dad, DAD, with No Fuel Left for the Pilgrims. Now, I've had this multiple times, and these CDs I've been showing you are all $3 a piece. This is great. This is a band from Denmark, I believe, that came out in the late 80s. I had this in a cutout bin, and I spent like $3 on this fucking thing before, and it was tickled to get it for $3. There's my word again, tickled. And I got this before, I'm sorry, for like $1. This was always in a discount bin, and I got it $3 this time. But I've never paid a lot of money for this, and I've had this multiple times. It showed up in my collection, and I was like, fuck it, it's gonna show up again, because for some reason this record just keeps coming back in my collection. This is late 80s, sort of like, I hate saying hair metal, but it certainly has a hair metal kind of thing to it, and it's more like less Poison, or like less poppy and more kind of, it has a bluesy era edge to it. You know, like I don't want to say it's like Badlands because I don't think it's that gruff necessarily. Or like that record's a little bit Badlands is a little bit more like to me muscular, but it definitely has like kind of bluesy hard rock slash hair metal to it. The big hit on here was "Sleeping My Day Away," which is a great song. It's got some great guitar on that. But there's a few other songs like what's the song on here? The like Point of View is great. True Believer, of course, Girl Nation. If you like '80s hair, you'll like this. And I just like this music. I don't collect a lot of it anymore because I don't really see it around as much. But I do like '80s hair, and I don't care if it's cool or bad or whatever. I do like this shit. And then we're gonna go total left gear here for the next two, and these both were $8 a piece. And I got, well, this one in trade, and I paid for the other one. Nina Simone. This is 60 Essential Recordings. It was sitting there, and I was like, I might as well pick this up in trade. It's kind of a nice compilation. I have like I think a record by her that's live or something, but I don't have an extensive kind of anthology of hers. And I prefer her kind of like later '60s stuff when she did a lot of covers, when she covered Leonard Cohen and the Bee Gees. But, you know, this is kind of cool to have. Uh, it's got like I Loves You Borgie on here in Solitaire, and My Baby Just Cares for Me, which is a classic song by her. So probably more like in that traditional jazz territory for her, maybe. I don't know all the songs on here, but I'm guessing it's something in that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Nina Simone. I have been for a while. Her voice is great. You know, she's right up there with me. Like for me, like Billie Holiday as far as and for great jazz singers, of course, Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan and those. So she's definitely in the conversation for sure. I love her. So Nina Simone, 60 Essential Recordings. So this is a 3 CD, 60 song set. So this is going to take a while to get through this one. I like big anthologies like this because I get stuck listening to the same artist for like a week, and it's a good excuse to get on an artist, you know, like Nina Simone and listen to her. Because that'll take me like one day I'll listen to one CD, one day, the next day the second, and the next day the third. So like half a week will be devoted to Miss Simone. I never would listen to something like that, like in its totality. I think I would go crazy, but not because it's bad. I just don't listen to music like that. Regan Youth. This is excellent. This is Disorder Now Anthology 81 through 84 off of the New Red Archives. So these are all studio recordings with different mixes, original radical mixes, outtakes, some live stuff, some CBGBs, alternative versions. Um, so Reagan Youth, I did not know a lot about. You know, I knew the name, but did not know a lot about. We're a New York-based hardcore band. Had kind of like the east hardcore is just so interesting to me because it is hardcore through and through, but it has kind of almost like a noisy sort of college rock kind of feel to it, but it is hardcore. Like there's something really interesting about the East Coast shit. Not that the West Coast sucks, because that's good too, but like some of the East Coast is really like kind of experimental in a way. And I think of especially like the band Void. They're so fucking weird, and they're a DC based band, but still on the East Side, I guess. And I feel like this is another one of these bands that had a little bit more to them than that. And the band was repped with repped. I don't even know if that's a word. Raped maybe with tragedy as band leaders Dave Insurgent, I think, who ended up committing suicide. His girlfriend was killed, I believe, and then Paul Cripple, who was the lead guitarist, reformed the band in 2006. and then ended up dying of cancer. So like the primary leaders of this band are gone, you know, unfortunately. So punk rock, hardcore lives on. New York style, Regan Youth. Check this out. Check them out. They're really kind of an interesting group. So let's get into it. I got a lot of albums to show you. Holy fuck, I got a lot of albums to show you. Holy shit. So many albums, it's not even funny. Ha ha ha. I'm going to go through some $3 records because these are worthwhile, I think, to go through. And then we're going to go through kind of more higher end stuff. Now, mind you, I did not pay for all this. I got some of this in trade, but this is Roger, the Many Faces of Roger, and this being Roger Troutman. So if you're not familiar with Roger Troutman, he was in the band. I'm so uncomfortable today. Sorry about this. He was in the band Zap. And you want to talk about another band who had a bunch of fucking tragedy. You know. He used the vocoder a lot, Roger did. And that was part of Zap sound too. But it was very distinct for, not everybody was doing that kind of thing in the early 80s. I mean, I think Herbie Hancock used a vocoder on some of his kind of more like funk albums. But not everybody was doing that in the early 80s. And it was like kind of a signature thing that Roger was doing. And this is really good soul funk. I'll just tell you that right now. This is excellent. If you like early 80s soul funk like I do. He does a cover, I heard it through the grapevine. So Rough, So Tough is great on here. Really funky. A Chunk of Sugar. Do It Rogers is great. This is just a really fucking fun, like, Saturday night fucking party record. Just put this on and fucking jam out and have a good time. Very, very good record by Roger. So, Roger and the Many Facets of Roger. And I believe this is his first studio album. I believe so. Hi there. This next one's an interesting one, too. I might as well just set these here because it just makes more sense to do that. The Deal, and this is Eyes of a Stranger. So I'm always interested in 80s soul stuff, and The Deal are a Cincinnati-based band that at one time had L.A. Reid and Babyface, who went on to become big in the 90s. L.A. Reid is a producer. Babyface had a little bit of a solo career too in the 90s, and this is pretty good, straight up funk at times, but also can be really kind of mellow soul music. And so it's a little bit of both funk soul, kind of more like, can get a little sophisticated. They had a big hit called On Two Occasions, which was a great single in the late 80s that came out. So I was definitely interested in getting this because I've heard the song On Two Occasions, didn't know anything else by them. They had another song called Shoot 'Em Up Movies that was also a hit. Not as big, of course. This is a little bit more funky. But yeah, these guys kind of straddle a line between soul and funk. I mean, late 80s, so lots of keyboards. Maybe a little tad bit overproduced, but I really kind of like the sound on this. I don't think soul music sucked in the late 80s. I really don't. And yeah, this is on the Solar label, the same label that Midnight Star was on. Yeah, so The Deal, Eyes of a Stranger. I'm still mad that I was interrupted while shooting this fucking video. I mean, come on. Rick James, Fire It Up. Yeah, I gotta get some Rick James in here. This one was $3, and that was like $3. Sold. Love Rick James. I have a few of his stuff on vinyl. This is an album that came out in '79. He made like 3 albums in 18 months. And this was one of the albums that doesn't really have like a standout song other than the title track, Fire It Out. Fire It Up, sorry. But it's got Love Gun. Loving You Is a Pleasure. I love that. Loving the Night. When Love Is Gone, I guess he was on a love kick. His love for cocaine is obviously stated in fucking, yeah, give it to me, baby. Yeah, it's pretty good. Kind of Not quite as good as like Street Songs that came a few years later, but pretty decent soul funk from the late 70s. Um, it's worth picking up. It's Rick fucking James, man. That's all I have to say. Look at that shit. And you know that probably happened in real life with two women between them. You know, so I mean, you know, just saying. I'm really trying to jam and get this fucking shit done, but we'll see. All right, I'm gonna give you guys a run on it. A group I feel like this group is highly underappreciated. But before I do that, I might as well show a few other, and then I will get on this group. This is Gabriel Kaplan, and this is Holes and Mellow Rolls. So this is Gabe Kaplan. That's right, Mr. Kata, the guy who played Mr. Kata, professional poker player now, who was a commentator for poker too, and then became a professional player, or maybe vice versa. I don't know, but he is funny, and this is his stand-up that he recorded. I want to say this was at the Comedy Store. It's a comedy record going back to 1974. I'm down with comedy records from the late 70s. He's got a piece on here called Exorcist. I'm kind of curious to hear his version of The Exorcist, like what's gonna sound like. That's actually a comedy piece on here, along with Jim and Margaret, Winky Dink, Mellow Holes and Mellow Rolls, Masturbation. So masturbation, can't go wrong with that, huh? So yeah, I didn't know he did comedy, and I didn't know he did stand-up, and so I'm interested in this Gabe Kaplan, kind of a novelty record of sorts. But this is the kind of record you see in a dollar bin. But this is what happens when you're trying to make as much money off a business as possible. You'll raise the price on something that should be $1 to $3, and it's not a dig. It's kind of the truth. This is the kind of thing that you would get in the dollar bin usually. But I paid $3 for it. The record's in good shape. This is Charo Abatia, and this is Corridos music from Mexico, and the album was called El Borracho. So Charo Atavia has been around for a while, Mexican singer, you know, doing kind of corridos music, I believe. This is on the Alfreon label, and yeah, he has a ton of this kind of music in his store, this traditional Spanish, Mexican, American, whatever you want to call it, not American, but Mexican music in his store. So I like this stuff. It's fun to listen to. I don't listen to it all the time, but I'm a little bit of a fan of world music, and you know, this is kind of interesting. All right, so the next three I picked up were all by the same artist, and this is a group that I feel like doesn't get a ton of love. They were a huge singles band. They're more a duet, a duel, I guess. But I feel like they're kind of like known for the hits. They don't get a lot of love, and so this guy, I guess we could call this artist appreciation. And I'm not saying that they don't get love from like. I'm not saying that they don't get love from like. Obviously, people love this band, love this group, or duel, or whatever you want to call it. But I feel like they're kind of like, from a point of view of an artistic, that there's artistic merit to what they were doing. It wasn't just videos and songs and stuff like that. And I'm talking about the great Hall & Oates. And this is a compilation of Past Times Behind that was released in 1977 off the Chelsea label. And these are really early recordings of Hall & Oates songs that are like 71, 72, like that early in their repertoire. And I thought this is kind of cool. I never really see like the earliest of the early Hall & Oates out there on vinyl, like Cole Oates. I never see that, so I figured this might be pretty interesting. I don't know why I was all of a sudden in the mood for fucking Hall and Oates, but I I buy the records accordingly. So this one is called Past Times Behind. This one is called No Goodbyes, and is a compilation album that was released once again in 1977. And this is, I think, recordings from their Atlantic years before they switched over to RCA. And this has a lot of stuff from Abandoned Luncheonette and War Babies, and let's see what else is on here. Whole Oats is on here, so the first album. So War Babies is fucking awesome record. So this was a no-brainer for me. And like I said, I what I mean by the Hall and Oates is, yes, they get recognition and everybody knows the singles and all that stuff, but I think they were incredibly rich and interesting. Made some interesting music, some rich and interesting music. That, I mean, obviously they wanted to have a soul sound after a while, and that was the kind of music that they wanted to do. And then they got into the 80s and they sort of kind of did more pop and had a lot of synthesizers in there. I love that era of Hall and Oates too, but the 70s stuff was really excellent music. And this is a good compilation album for you. Yes, it's a pretty young lady right there. I wonder if that's his. I wonder if that's the Sarah that he was married to. That was the. I don't know if it is or not. I don't remember what she looks like. But the Sarah, he was married to a girl named Sarah, and he wrote the song "Sarah Smile" after her. I think they got divorced later on, but don't quote me. And Hall and Oates voices. So I decided to get this. I've been kind of curious about this record. This is one I had on 8-track when I was a kid, and I gotta admit, I didn't get to this one very well, or very often, because it was like one of those, I had a bunch of 8-tracks, and this one just didn't hit me in the way the other ones, like Double Fantasy, or by John Lennon, or ABBA Super Trooper, or Styx Paradise Theater did. I had all these 8-tracks and I listened to them pretty much in succession. High Infidelity, REO Speedwagon. We're talking 80, 81 era pop music, and this was in that 8-track thing. Didn't listen to it very much. And this is really almost their best record in a lot of ways. There is some really, really tasty songs on here. And this was the album that broke them through big. There's a bit of new wave on here. Mixed sort of with that, pop soul stuff that they do, and it is absolutely excellent. And it's got the big hits on here. You've Lost That Love and Feeling, of course, the Righteous Brothers. Kiss on My List, the excellent You Make My Dreams. How Does It Feel to Be Back is a great song. That was their first single off here before they kind of went nuts. There's some great, like, fucking new wave songs on here. United States is great. So is, what's that other song in here? Got a Lot of Nerve. Perfect is great. The song Africa. No, not that song by Toto, but John Oates' Africa, which he sings lead vocals, is a fucking fun song. It's cheesy, but I kind of like it. And of course, the version of Every Time You Go Away is on here. Take a Piece of Me with You, which of course Paul Young made big 4 years later. Sometimes always forget that Daryl Hall wrote Every Time You Go Away, and of course, such a great songwriter. Were both Oates and Hall. So great. Early 80s, kind of, this is like the era where they were doing kind of more new wave into pop. There's a few soul songs on here, soul-based stuff, but mostly this is in that pop reign, and I love this record. This would be probably, this and Private Eyes were my favorite records by them, and War Babies came out in the 70s. But yeah, a little bit of a artist spotlight on Hall and Oates, kind of a forgotten about group in a way. When I'm talking about music quality, everybody knows the singles and stuff, but I mean, from a point of view of like songwriting, production, vocals, they were really good. Yeah. 9.5 weeks. It's an 80 soundtrack. I'm gonna throw it in here. This one was $2-3 too, in the same price range. This had the big hit "I Do What I Do" on it by John Taylor from Duran Duran, his first solo hit. I don't know if he had a lot more solo hits than that, but "Slave to Love" by Brian Ferry's on here. That's a great song. Joe Cocker, "You Can Leave the Light On," or "Leave Your Hat On," sorry. "Leave Your Hat On" is on here. There is I thought there was a Devo song in here. "Bread and Butter," Devo. "The City Never Sleeps," Eurythmics. Stuart Copeland from The Police doing a song called "Cons." So, 80 sounding soundtrack. This was a no-brainer. If you've seen my show, you know I show these records, and I know they don't really have a lot of value for people or people like them, but I love 80 soundtracks. I've showed multiple ones: Rocky 4, 5, White Knights. I will fucking show some 80 soundtracks and have no problem with it. I like them. Geez, are we gonna get out of this $3 bear? Cardiff Rose, Roger McGuinn. And what an interesting album by him. This is probably the most interesting solo record I've heard by Roger McGuinn. Of the Byrds fame, with Mick Ronson doing the production and playing on this album. These guys, I think, met when they were on that Bob Dylan's, what was that, Rolling Thunder Review, that record. They were both on that record and playing on that record, and that's how they met. And what a weird marriage of styles here. Some of this is a little glammy, and some of this is definitely Roger McGuinn. I don't know if the big 12-string Rickenbacker's on here. Maybe on a few songs, but the first song is a total Roger McGuinn song called "Take Me Away." And then he's got a song on here called "Jolly Roger." Pirate ships and Roger McGuinn? What? And this great song in here called "Rock and Roll Time" that's more glammy and straight up rock and roll. I haven't heard a song by him that is straight up rock and roll. And then this weird long song at the end called "Dreamland." This is definitely worth picking up if you want. I feel like artists that want to do something a little different, which I have an obsession for artists that have a different kind of music sensibility or music direction on an album. I'm a sucker for this shit. So, Roger, you got me on this album. This is great, Cardiff Rose. If you're a Stone Cold like Byrds fan and Roger McGuinn fan, you're probably not gonna like it. I love it. It's strange. Here's another one. This one is "Nosotros Boleros de Ayer." Another this one traditional mariachi music. I love these records. This is off that Discos Corona. He had a ton of these records there, and I just picked up a few of them just because I like them. This is an older style record. I'll have to get this cleaned, but yeah, kind of interesting. I mean, these records are a little beat up, but I almost might just keep them for the covers. I mean, it's kind of cool looking. And I didn't spend but a few dollars on this, so I'm not mad. But the value on this, I guess, is worth. But the shape is not great on this record. So more of that Spanish music. We're almost out of the $3 fucking purgatory where we've been in for the last 5 minutes. Briefcase of the Blues. My last video I showed this on cassette I had, so I'm not going to go through this in detail. The Blues Brothers. I believe their first album and best in my opinion. Wow, this is a great, this is a great party record. It's got Soul Man on here. That's a great song. Did they have another hit on here, or was it "Hey Bartender" and the fucking awesome "Rubber Biscuit"? That song is not only my favorite Blues Brothers song, it's one of my favorite songs of that era. Novelty act, but with great backing band. You know, you had Donald Duck Dunn on here, I believe. Matt Murphy, fucking Steve Cropper. I mean, Steve Jordan. You just had some killer musicians on here. And I've said it before, so I don't really want to go down talking about it again, because I just showed this same record, but I had it on cassette. So, Blues Brothers. I almost wasn't going to show it, but I was like, fuck it. I'm going to show it because I'm proud I have it. So, Blues Brothers, first album, self-titled. No, Briefcase of the Blues, not self-titled. All right, let's get 2 in by Cream. This one was $4, and my favorite record by this group, and a very clean copy of this. I found this in some Beatles records and a Bruce Springsteen record. It was a bootleg, and I bought them into the store, and I got like $100 and some in trade for 5-6 records. And this one I decided to keep for myself. Disraeli Gears. Love Cream. Love this album. This is my favorite record by them. There was something about this cover and its pinkness that to me I thought was really weird. I have it on CD, but I do not have it on vinyl, on the Atco label. I've not seen this clean a copy of this record unless it was a reissue. So this is a VG plus fucking Cream, Disraeli Gears, which is such a great record by them. You can't really go wrong with this. He has Goodbye Cream there, although the record isn't as in good a shape, but I think I might pick it up anyways, just to have for my Cream collection. Their first album, and to me, right outside of Disraeli Gears, their best fucking record. I love this record, Fresh Cream. Yeah, 1966. It's hard to believe that something this heavy came out in 1966. I think maybe Hendrix's first album came out in 67. So this predates Hendrix by a year for pure heaviness. And a few years before Jeff Beck Group and Led Zeppelin, and then a year before Black Sabbath. So to me, this is they're definitely a precursor to heavy metal. There's no doubt about it. Now, are they heavy metal? No. But this is a fucking heavy record for sure. Once again, off the Atco label. This one's got some light scratches on it, but it is a great record. It's got I Feel Free on it. Sleepy Time, NSU, Sweet Wine. Cat Squirrel's a great instrumental. Cat Squirrel is. Rollin' and Tumblin' is a great blues cover of the old Muddy Waters song. I'm so glad. Fucking killer song. And Toad. I was really into Cream in my early 30s. I was kind of almost obsessed with this band. I remember when they reunited in 2007, I went and got the CD of them recording. I think they played live at Royal Albert Hall, and I was super excited because that was probably my Cream obsession at that time when I was listening to a lot of 60s bands, and Cream were definitely one of my favorite bands of that era at that time when I was listening to them, and maybe still yet. Fucking awesome record. I mean, these records blow me the fuck away. How heavy and dirgy they are for their time period. This and Disraeli Gears, these two, man, these are fucking great records. Great, heavy, kind of bluesy, even psychedelic, kind of hard rock, really, for its time period. Frank Marino in Mahogany Rush, but also goes by Mahogany Rush. Once again, if you watch my channel, I've shown a few Mahogany Rush records. I'm pretty sure I've shown at least one or two in these updates. This is the very first record by Mahogany Rush called Maxim, and his fucking 1973 release off of the 20th Century Records. His fucking sort of worship of fucking his worship of fucking Jimi Hendrix is still up and present, and on the 20th Century label. This was in good shape, and I got it. It was in this $5 bin, which I picked up that Cream record in that $5 bin. It's like a box of $5 records it's like some killer classic rock stuff in there. So I've just been snagging them every now and then, just picking them up as I can. Not picking them up all at once, but I picked up in his $5 box bin, I picked up Aerosmith's live bootleg, which I've shown. I picked up those Cream records, or that one Cream record. I got some really good shit for $5, And this is another one, the first Mahogany Rush record. Not even going by Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush, just Mahogany Rush, which comprises of Par Harwood on bass, Fender bass actually, and Jimmy Ayub on drums. The same outfit he had for a long time in the 70s. There was a lot of consistency to this. And going back to the Hendrix, very Hendrix influenced stuff here. Song Funky Woman is kind of cool. That's a fun song. Maxim is really good, bluesy kind of stuff. All in Your Mind. He liked to actually, and he did this more so maybe on later records. You guys will have to tell me because I don't know all his records, but on like Tales of the Unexpected and stuff, he kind of went psychedelic a little bit, which I really kind of appreciate him doing that. But yeah, this is fucking awesome. If you're a fan of bluesy hard rock and you have not heard Mahogany Rush, go listen to some of this stuff. It's so good. Frank might not have the best voice, but this is great hard rock with a bluesy approach to it. Like I said, he is a Hendrix dude through and through, a follower through and through. This one was a Record Store Day release. I picked it up anyways. Full Range Frequency Recordings. This one was $6. I got this in trade. This is, I got 4 recordings of artist Jengi doing the song Bell Mercy, Skin on Skin with Burn Them Bridges, Burns with Talamanca, and the band called Obscure with Bayside, which sounds like something you would hear on the radio. The Obscure song, for sure. I'm not sure when this came out, if it came out this Record Store Day or not, but it's house electronic music and it's newer. And yeah, I have a sort of inkling for house music. Don't love it, but definitely have a sort of liking and respect for it. So yeah, 4 singles, $6 for this. That's a pretty good deal if you ask me. Sealed. So full range, full frequency range recordings. My bad. Full frequency range recordings, sampler basically of house electronic music. That's fairly current, I believe. Kind of newer. Kind of really, like I said, that's kind of not my thing, but I always will take a chance. These 2 I got in trade, and I had no problem with either one of these. This is Angel. I love this band, White Hot. 1978 release. I'm a big fan of this fucking band. And this is not like prime Angel era. Maybe the first self-titled album to me is excellent. But man, I love this group. There's something about this group. It's this glam metal from 1978. And tasty for me. Hard rock with a bit of progressiveness in keyboards in it. Of course, Greg Ciffrio, you know, this is his group. But Punky Meadows is in this. I just love this band. I fucking do. This album's got a little bit of a glamminess to it, and definitely trying to go in a commercial direction, I think. Yeah, I love Angel. Like I said, I got this free in trade. This used to be like $1 record. Now it's $6. It's kind of ridiculous. And who's the lead singer? Frank Domino. I always thought something really interesting about fucking Angel, because they had these white outfits on, and you know, they had this Angelica sort of thing going on, and they were like hard rock. They were kind of like the godly version of hard rock, as opposed to the darker satanic version of hard. Well, I don't say satanic, darker version of hard rock on the same label with Kiss. You know, they were like the more angelic antithesis of Kiss, and it kind of makes me laugh in a way, but it actually is kind of true. So, yeah, I love fucking Angel. This band, fucking primo, man. That's at the 54-minute mark, and I haven't even gotten to the good records yet. I know this is going to go way over. I got way too much fucking music. I should have probably just concentrated on the vinyl. Angel. Sinful, yeah, another great record by Angel. This is the follow-up from 1979. I'm not really going to go through a lot. This one, Sealed. I think this has kind of more of a homegrown sort of angel sound to it. It has a little bit of that, meaning it has kind of more like an older style, but it's got a little bit of a glam feel to it as well, and still poppy. But definitely kind of going more back to the roots a little bit more on this album. The first song on here, "Don't Take Your Love," is great. Just Can't Take It is another killer song on here. I love this band. I kind of have like a secret obsession with this band that for some reason, just the whole white thing doesn't really make sense in rock and roll. And having an angelic personality really doesn't make any sense, but yet it fucking works. You know, I love Angel. I'm a big fan of the band. I really am. This was a Record Store Day release from this year, I believe. Originally priced at $22, and this went down to $15, and I got this in trade. So, John Trudell with Wounded Indians. So this is still sealed, so I'm not going to take it out. This is some interesting stuff. John Trudell is a Native American activist, poet, and singer. Artist too. I think he did some artist like paintings, drawing, stuff like that too. Who actually was kind of known for his activism work for Native Americans, and struck up a friendship with Jackson Browne, who helped produce this album. And he's backed with his band, the Bad Dog Band. And this is really interesting because this falls almost into world music, but it's not. But it's like somewhere in the realm of like singer-songwriter, spoken word, almost shamanistic kind of sounds, Native American sounds, all mixed together. And it almost is avant-garde because of that, but it's, I don't know who you could really compare this to. I was gonna say like maybe Roddy Cooder, maybe, but I don't even know if that works for like kind of, because the music's kind of bluesy and kind of like and has that world feel to it like some of Roddy Cooder stuff did, but it rocks a little bit, and some of this is pretty mellow. He doesn't sing a lot. Sometimes he sings sometimes he does spoken word. A really interesting record by Mr. Trudell. So, Wounded Indians. I just took a chance. I got it in trade. I'll see if I'm going to keep it long term or not, but yeah, that's kind of cool to have. This is Mock Pelican, and this is a band via Australia, who were Japanese but Australia based now, Ramones worshiper. And obviously if you look at that cover and you see the back, you see the Ramones worship. Very much like Ramones inspired power pop. Really catchy songs. This is like, power pop is really not my fucking thing, but I decided to stay home and give this thing a fucking chance, and I'm certainly glad I did because it's an interesting kind of record. It was reissued on Radiation. This came out originally in 1999 or 1998, so fairly, I would say, kind of newer Radiation release. So if you like Japanese kind of style vocals with some sweet, sort of sugary, almost coated power pop, you're gonna love this. I mean, this is kind of like, to me, if they weren't Japanese, I don't know, because I'm so in love with Japanese music. But if it wasn't Japanese, I don't know if this one I got in trade too. I got that one in trade as well. This is Q Lazarus, and this is The Many Lives of Q Lazarus, music from the motion picture. A documentary was made about the great Q Lazarus, and this is soundtrack, songs from that soundtrack. Selected songs like Goodbye Horses is on here. A Fool's Life, she does a cover of Summertime on here. My Mistake, Hellfire, pretty rockin' song. Q Lazarus is known for Goodbye Horses. If I said Wild Horses earlier, the song that was in Silence of the Lambs. But she had a little bit of a career that was fledgling and never really got signed to a label. And it wasn't, and she passed away a few years ago, and it was unfortunate because she's got a great voice. She's a soul singer, but some of this is kind of rock. There was some keyboards in it, at times. So it was like soul rock. And I was trying to think of who she kind of reminds me of, and she doesn't really remind me of anybody. I know that like Nona Hendrix was doing kind of a soul rock thing in the early 80s, but this isn't really like that either. So I don't know. It's almost avant-garde in a way because of her approach, her soulful vocals into like keyboard-driven music is really kind of interesting to me. And it's not like house or dance music. It's like keyboard-laden soul rock, I guess, pop music. And I had her 12-inch single "Goodbye Horses" that I just showed probably in a video months ago. I can't remember when. So this is like from that soundtrack. I absolutely had to get this. No questions asked. You know, Q Lazarus, really cool shit. We're at the minute mark, but we're almost done, guys. Big Black, more songs about fucking. I also got this in trade too. This was a no-brainer, $22 out the door. 1987 release and the follow-up to Atomizer. I don't know if I like this album as much as I like Atomizer, but it is some great noisy stuff. If you like noise rock, and you're probably gonna like this, and it's off the Touch and Go label. Power of Independent Trucking is a great song on here. The Model, Bad Penny, El Dopa. There's some really good songs on here. Kitty Empire, love that song. This just got something good to offer. So, yeah. Big Black, more songs about fucking. Or songs about fucking. Not more songs, songs about fucking. Noise rock from the 80s. If you guys probably know who Big Black is. I'm not saying anything you don't know. This one you might not know. This is God is War with Boogeyman Incorporated. This is really interesting. So this kind of God is War, I believe, is an LA-based musician, and I don't know his real first name off the top of my head, but this is really kind of an interesting album. I got into this kind of by accident. There's an Obi strip on this album. I'll show you the album before I get into it. There is an insert with the songs, and then there's a picture of him on here. I was hoping it would say what his name is, but it doesn't say, and I forget. But this came out, I think, 2024, so last year. Nice, look at that. Nice splattered vinyl. So this kind of God is War is a mixture of experimental sort of electronic music, industrial, and almost like power electronics, and it kind of merges someplace in all those different genres. And that's all I can say about it, because I don't, it's really kind of all over the fucking place. I would think, it's really kind of more industrial in some songs, and then other songs is like fucking other songs it's like fucking it's not, it's more it has more like sort of it has more sort of like fucking experimental edge to it. So if you like any of that kind of style of music, you will like this probably. God is War. I know I'd buy more by this project. So God is War, Boogeyman Incorporated. And it's on the Profound Lore label, which is, I think they do more like, I thought they did more, Profound Lore did more like fucking like even black metal or noisy stuff. Profound Lore. So that was a no-brainer for me. That label was good. Microwave Buddha and Other Delights. We're getting close to the end, guys, but I'm running way over here. This is an interesting record that came out this year. A new record of sorts for me. This came out, I think, in March of this year on the Hyperspace label. So this is, Microwave Buddha is a artist who does electronic music, but he also worked as a composer and sound engineer for Sega Genesis. So did a lot of the video game music, or oversaw that video game music for some of those games. And here he is working with people like Mega Drive Rex, Giza X. Of course, Giza X is punk rocker who was in Black Flag, to Chip Kidman, who was in the Dills. So, working with punk rockers. But this is definitely more your garden variety electronic sort of, I don't want to say, what's it called, vapor wave music or whatever, but it's definitely kind of interesting, a tad bit experimental, but more interesting sort of electronic music, I guess, with some video game kind of feel to it. I don't know what they call that, vapor wave or something. But I saw the back of this and I wasn't going to buy it because it's got an oddball shit on the back of this. But if you're into any of that kind of video game music with, you might like this. Microwave Buddha and Other Delights. $26 for that one. Black Crowes, Southern Harmony, and Musical Companion. I can't believe I fucking got this on vinyl. I was happy. I asked him if this was on vinyl. He said, yeah, you can get it. I said, oh, okay. So I got it on vinyl. Their second album, my favorite record by them. I listened to this so much back in the day. That's not even funny. It's not even funny. I listened to, my sister had this on CD, and I listened to this multiple times at her house. This, of course, had the big hit, Remedy, on it. It's got some great songs like Bad Luck, Blue Eyes, and Goodbye. King of the Hill is on this, right? Is it? I'm going to say that wrong. Not King of the Hill. Time Will Tell, sorry. Hotel Illness. Black Moon Creeping. My Morning Song is terrific. That's got like a Zepp feel to it, a Zeppelin feel. Thorn in My Pride is great, kind of a mellow song. My favorite song, still to this day, by Black Crowes is on here, Sometimes Salvation. The riff on that song and the way he sings, he screams at the end of that song. That song used to get me, just got me right here, I get goosebumps when I would hear it. So, if you like 90s rock with a bit of a Rolling Stones Faces kind of feel from the 70s, how can you not love the Black Crowes? I love this band. I was so grateful when they came out in the 90s when everything was either industrial or fucking alternative or even death metal, for there to be a band like Black Crowes rooted in this 70s thing. It was so great because I never stopped liking that shit. So I was so grateful there was a band like them. There was a lot of bands, you Driving and Crying and Cry of Love, that were doing kind of rock music. It was so nice that was happening. But the front runner to me was the Black Crowes, for sure. I'm so happy to have this on fucking vinyl. Tickled. And last but not least, last record, and this is just black vinyl, but this is telling you how much these albums go for by this band. But Cannibal Corpse, Butchered at Birth. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to show this. I'm showing it anyways. I got that children thing on YouTube, so I'm going to show it anyways. I love this record. I believe it's their second album. I really think this is a step up from Tombs of the Mutilated. I love the production on this, and I love Tombs of the Mutilated, don't get me wrong. But this has got Meat Hook Sodomy, Living Dissection, Covered with Sores, Bomb at the Soul, all kinds of cool songs on here. Death metal royalty right here is Cannibal Corpse. And this, along with that Black Crowes, is like, I'm pinching myself that I fucking can get this now on vinyl. So, there you go. Whew. I don't know how many albums I went through there, but I got a lot of those on trade. So, a lot of those albums on trade. I paid for that Cannibal Corpse, but some of those other records I did not pay for. So, it would have been probably $200 altogether. I would have spent maybe for that, and then I had 100 some plus in trade, so $300 altogether. My usual craziness. I'm not sure when I'm going to get another update out because I have so many records. I'm going up north in a few weeks, and I just need some time to save some money. So I would say my next big update will be in a few weeks. probably in a month, probably I should say 2-3 weeks to a month, I will have a DVD Blu-ray haul update. I know a lot of people don't like those, but I like to do those. That will be coming up very, very soon here, probably in another week or two. And then for music updates, if that's what you guys are looking for, it's going to be maybe a month out. We'll see. I say that, and maybe next week. But yeah, I got a lot of stuff to listen to. So thank you guys for watching as always. Sorry about the interruption earlier. Like, that was crazy. That's not happened to me. Yes, it has. It has happened to me before doing one of these videos. But I don't want to reshoot it. I was 17 minutes in, so sorry about that. Thanks for your continued support for watching this channel. I feel like I'm really kind of getting into my own thing here now real quick. Like, I'm really getting into my own. Like, I'm finally, this is kind of the format I like. The stuff I'm showing, I feel like I'm showing good product to you guys. That it's good music that I'm showing. Well, that's relative, but like, I like the cassette CD kind of, and then the build up of the records from cheaper to more expensive. I love the whole format I'm showing, so I'm going to keep doing that. For the time, sorry. See you guys.